What's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Trade Talk. It is Thursday this week, obviously flying back from Perth late Tuesday night, so didn't have a chance to get to record it yesterday, but we are back and doing Trade Talk. Obviously, you can see different setup. I haven't got my normal setup, still got to set it back up from obviously being away, but that'll be in the next video. But let's get stuck into the most traded in and out players ahead of round 20. We got 5 rounds to go, so hopefully you guys have got all your rookies off your field and you're just doing just a bit of luxury trading at this time. So the most trade in play is a rookie, Luke Nankervis, over 8,500 coaches jumping on him. Obviously good option, mid forward, obviously negative break even. I'm not sure if he's still, I think he played well enough to hold his spot in the Crows, but whether he does, obviously Rory Laird looks like he will be back this week. So does Nankervis hold his spot? I'm not sure. So we'll have to see. But if he plays, obviously it's a good downgrade option. Just want someone that's playing, and he's got DPP as well, which is obviously an added bonus. Josh Dunkley, I love this pick. 5.6k coaches jumping on him. He obviously returned with a 112 last week. If you can jump on him while he's still going to be pretty unique, like what, not even 6,000 coach jumping on him as of Thursday. So if you can get on him and he puts up a big score, then obviously you're going to be reaping those benefits. So I do like him as a pod there, which is weird to say that Dungy's pod, but obviously the injury has caused that. Sam Flanders, yeah, I like the pick. Obviously playing midfield, got a 110 last week. He's looked really, really good in the midfield. I wasn't sold a few weeks ago just because Gold Coast do like changing things up, but hey, he's performed really well, and yeah, if you can go like a Keys down to him and go, I don't know, if you can go a Mills up to an LDU or something like that, then that's a definite play. I don't mind those moves there. George Hewitt, a little bit the same as Flanders. If you can go someone down to Hewitt and then another person up on the other end, I don't mind that play. I'd rather Flanders over Hewitt. The only thing with Hewitt is we know that he can score, obviously, from last year, 91 last week. If he actually tackled a mark, the boy would have actually had a pretty good score last week. 464, if something does happen, where are you going to go? That's my only concern with Super Huey. But hey, if you want to even put him on your bench and have him as like a 23rd premium, because he plays Friday night, you can actually have a look at him. So I don't mind that play as well. That is something that you can consider there. Jack Steele, yeah, like the pick, 3.6k jumping on. Looked great last week with his 133. It's good to see him back in some form and looking fit and firing again. So, yeah, like him. Same with LDU, 3.1k jumping on him. I think he'll run a mucker Optus on Sunday afternoon in that final game. And yeah, obviously the only bad thing with him is he is the obvious tag target at North Melbourne, just have had damaging years. But I still, if you can get a guy like him in that's got some pretty good matchups to come, I don't exactly know what tags will be coming in the remaining fixtures. So if you look at the fixtures here, West Coast, they've sent O'Neill to people in the past, but O'Neill's not even playing midfield. They'd rather probably place other people in the midfield. Melbourne, maybe Jimmy Jordan goes to him there. Essendon, do they run someone? They didn't run anyone with Bont last week, so Richmond, they don't tag, and then Gold Coast, they have used Swallow at times in the past, but I don't think it'll do too much with LDU, so I do like LDU as a pick. Same with Sam Doherty, 2.3k coach jumping on him. Like him as a pick. He's got Collingwood and St Kilda in his next 2, which are 2 good matchups there. Now, Max Gawn's the interesting one. So he's got Richmond this week, 2.1k jumping on him. Now, obviously, they're made up of coaches or trading Briggs and Darcy Cameron to him. But the interesting trade this week is going Ryan Marshall down to Max Gawn. So we did obviously hear Ross Lyon come out and say that Marshall was under duress playing last week and he nearly didn't play. The fact that you can make yourself over nearly 100, I think, is it nearly 150k in terms of coin going down to him, I don't mind that. They're going to go at a pretty similar rate. It is a bit of a pod move. I'm considering it personally myself this week, going a Marshall down to him, especially if a Tom Campbell's named alongside Marshall. We'll definitely be looking at something like that. But I'm considering it just because of if there's a layout, then you can jump on a Max Gawn and you can maybe be ahead of the pack in that sort of regard. So 1.1k jumping off Marshall. Yeah, 997. So what's that? So 997. And what was Max Gawn? yeah, wow, that's nearly 170k. That's a lot of money, and Gorn's only going to go up in price. So in a few weeks' time, you might be able to just go Gorn to Marshall. So I'm not ruling it out for my own team personally. And it could be a move that you guys be considering as well. Sam Banks, yeah, I like him. 2.1k jumping on. I probably prefer him over Nankervis just because we've seen him for a few more weeks. He looks settled in the 22 for Richmond at the moment, whereas Nankervis, I'm not sure exactly where he fits in Adelaide's 22. So Banks, I'd prefer if you can afford him, but he is a little bit more expensive at 270k. So Bailey Smith, 2k coach are jumping on him. I wouldn't personally. I know that he's at a cheap price and he looked good last week. He didn't have the role. He only had the 9% CBAs. I wouldn't feel confident bringing him in thinking he's going to go at 100 plus for the rest of the year because we know what he's done this year. He's been very up and down. He hasn't had a great year, so I personally wouldn't do it. But if you're keen, then I guess you can. The Bont, obviously, the Bont's a great option each and every week. He's been great. Sicily, one of my favourite targets this week against the Saints. If you can get him, he would be a very, very good option. Josh Fay as well. He came as a sub last week. He's been the sub. If you need a downgrade option, if you need basement, he's probably the one because hopefully he can crack in the 22 at some point. Windhager, now this is interesting. 1,000 coaches jumping on Windhager. I wouldn't be jumping on a guy like Windhager now. He's nearly 600k. If you're getting him, you'd be wanting him on field. I've got him on. A lot of coaches have got him on their bench, and I wouldn't feel confident bringing him in. So I would be bringing a guy like Windhager in unless you're confident he goes at 100 plus for the next couple of weeks, or not 100 plus, sorry, like a 80, 85 plus, which I just don't know if that's going to be the case. Hey, if he does, I'll be happy because I got him on a bench, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't be doing it. And Rory Atkins, well, credit to him. He's been obviously fantastic the last few weeks. Back-to-back hundreds there. 300s in a row, sorry. He's been great. I don't think I could be confident in bringing... And then again, he got 56 in 47% game time against Collingwood. So he's in the role. He's scoring well. Hey, you could do a lot worse than getting a Rory Atkins. 635k, break even to 23. If he keeps this role, he's going to continue to score. Brisbane, Adelaide, Sydney in his next three. So I wouldn't feel confident bringing a guy like him in at this time of the year, but if you think he can still go at what he's been doing the last few weeks, then feel free to jump on. Most traded out, obviously, Will Ashcroft is the most traded out, which sucks because obviously he's talent and you don't want to see any player go down with a serious injury, like especially a guy like Will Ashcroft. So unfortunately, he's got to be traded out and he will be out for a pretty significant time. So all the best for Ashcroft and his recovery there. Matt Johnson, he can go 5.6k jumping off. He only scored a 22 last week. His scoring has dropped off a fair bit in the last 3 weeks, 41, 68 and 22. He got that 68. A lot of that came in the second half as well. So I'd be happy jumping off of Johnson now. A lot of people got him on the bench, so you can go him down, make yourself 200 odd k at least. 250k gets you Banks, or even 290 or the better part of 290k to get Nankervis. I would be doing that move and cashing in. Ben Keys, 4.6k jumping off. I'm probably going to be one of them as well. Matt Crouch and Schoenberg coming in last week and then led also to come back in. I think Schoenberg and Crouch played well enough to hold their spots. So whether they all hold their spot is a obviously different story. But also the fact that Rankin will be out as well and Rochelle. I think Keys will be playing forward this week. I wouldn't even be surprised if he went to like a Dan Houston, just did like a defensive forward role and then pushed up the ground as well as an extra mid. But I just don't see the scoring being there moving forward if he's going to be playing up forward. So I'd be jumping off of him before he... I know you got an 82 last week, but again, he was on 21 at half time. If he didn't have such a good last quarter there, it would have been a bad score. So I'd jump off before he does give you a bad score. I love Keezy. I wish I could keep him, and I wish that he would still stay in this role, but I think it could change moving forward. Sam Walsh, obviously hamstring injury, he's got to go 4,500 jumping off him. I didn't mind the play jumping on him last week, especially against West Coast. He's going to be cheap next year as well, by the way. Apologies to those owners there that have got him and got to trade him this week. But yeah, he'll be back in a couple of weeks, but I'd be moving off of him anyway. Sheldrick, for those coaches that haven't jumped off him yet, he can go. Hobbs can go, only got a 43 last week. And again, I've said it for a couple of weeks. His scoring has really dropped off since Parrish came. Parrish came in round 16, 73, 70, 63, 43. Just not good enough. You need, obviously, players scoring over 100 at this time of the year, and Hobbs won't be that guy. So he's got to go. George Wardlaw, I think hamstring as well. So coaches haven't got rid of him. He's got hamstring. That was a couple of weeks ago, I think he did that. So again, cashing him in, getting some cash to upgrade on the field is a good move. Campbell Chesser, if he's your avenue to get the upgrade you want, I'm fine jumping off a guy like him now. He's made a decent enough coin. Bit of a slow burn, obviously, for a lot of coaches this year, but yeah, I'd be moving off him. Ryan Marich, 363, a bit similar to Chesser. If he gets you the upgrade you need, then you can cash in with him. Jack McRae be trading as well. That role just isn't there. Only 69 last week. Just didn't look too great. I know he's got this great run of 3 games coming up. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hey, you could hold, but I'd be able to trade. That role is it's all over the place. You just don't know what he's going to do week on week. Tom Mitchell as well. It's weird, but starting as a sub 2 weeks ago, then being subbed this past week, I'd be jumping off. I think huge break even as well. Yeah, I'd definitely be jumping off. I know that he's done okay in the halves that he's played. 60 in less than a half, and then 48 in just over a half is not bad, but it just sucks he's being subbed out. So who knows if that continues? But yeah, I'd be jumping off. Will Day, I'd be happy to jump off as well. He's got Saints this week, so if you have to keep, then keep. But if he's one of your worst players in your team, I'd be happy to jump off. Seamus Mitchell can go as well. What's he priced at now? Yeah, 59 last week, 589. Again, he's at a good price. You can trade him, and if he's on your field, try and get him up. If he's on your bench, you can cash him in and get some cash there. Ron Marshall is the interesting one. So Briggs to a Gorn. I love that trade. I'll be doing that. What did Briggs get last week? 73. But yeah, so not too bad, but I'll be trading. Ron Marshall is the interesting one, as I spoke about before. You could consider it. I'm considering it, especially if Tom Campbell comes in this week. And if we hear anything else about Marshall's being restricted or they want to play him more forward, that's the flag. He's been obviously fantastic this year, but it's these, when you're in the luxury training season, it's these little things that could be the difference when you train this player or this player. So like if you say, for example, you're deciding you want Gorn, you decide you're thinking, do I trade English or Marshall? You're not trading English because Marshall's the one that's carrying something at the moment. So that's where you jump off him. But yeah, I'm considering it in my team. But that'll probably lead me into my trades when I'm looking at... Actually, no, hang on. I'll do the top 5 targets first, sorry. And then I will get into my trades. Top 5 targets this week. Number 1 for me is James Sicily. I think the matchup against St Kilda is just too good to ignore. He's been fantastic. What's the average? Yeah, 121 in his last 5. And that's also including that 65 that he got. He's been fantastic. This will be even more so if Blank was to come back into the side, which he's not in the injury report, so Blank should be back in. If Blank's in, Sicily's a great option this week, and I'd be getting him, especially against St Kilda, Collingwood, Western Bulldogs, Melbourne. All great matchups there. Freo a bit tougher, but those other matchups are really good. So he'd be my number 1 target. My number 2 target would probably be Sam Doc. Oh, would I go Doherty or Dunkley? It's tough. Doherty or Dunkley? Probably Doherty. I'd probably go Doherty just because the thing that splits it for me, Dunkley's has had an injury, whereas Doherty's has been playing for... When did Doherty come back from his own injury? It's been a couple of months. Yeah, around 7. Yes, it's been a while. So a bit longer than what I thought. Yeah, because it's just flying. This season's flying by. So I just sort of losing track of the rounds. But yeah, it's been a while since he missed a game. So Doherty for me would be number 2. Dunkley would be my number 3 target though. I think the fact that he's not going to be heavily owned the top 10,000 this week. Next week will probably be when this ownership restarts kicking. He might be up to, I don't know, could be 60-odd% the top 100 maybe, could even be 50. But obviously in the weeks leading forward, it'll go up to 70, 80, 90%, then everyone will soon own him. So if you can get him this week, decent matchup against Gold Coast as well. I like him, so he would be number 3. Number 4 would be Jack Steele. I think that he's just been in great form. There's an argument to be made that you could have him over a Josh Dunkley for the value, but I just think Dunkley being probably the number 2 forward behind Taranto. If not, he could push him for number 1 from here on in. That would be where the tie splits for me, but Steele is great value still. Not as much what he was, but he is 878, still good enough value. He's been great the last few weeks. And again, Hawthorn this week, good matchup. Carlton, Richmond in the couple after that, good matchups there. I'd be looking at Jack Steele there, and he'd be my number 4. And then number 5, that would probably be... Yeah, probably LDU for me. I think LDU, the value there, West Coast this week. Good matchups to come for the rest of the year as well. Melbourne, Essendon, Richmond, Gold Coast. 818k, good value. I would have him at number 5, but a close number 5 as well would be Darcy Parish. He's a bit of a smoky pick that I like. I want to get him next week. He's my target next week. Sydney, little bit of a tougher matchup. I don't exactly know how hard they are. I don't think that they're easy, but they're not. I think they might be neutral. I have to check the cow scale, but it's these two after that. West Coast, North Melbourne. You're going to want him for these two. You probably want both him and Merritt because they're going to be the guys that could pop 130 plus scores there. So he would be my smoky pick this week. If you liked him over at LDU or a steal, I wouldn't begrudge you for picking Parish as a bit of a pod and with those good matchups to come. So they'd be my top 5. A little bit easy this week, which is good. And also don't mind like a Flanders if you need the cash and Hewitt as well. But my trades this week, what I'm looking at doing, I am just looking at doing a Dev Rob down to a Banks, just get some cash, and then going a Ben Keys up to Josh Dunkley. That's what I'm looking at doing. I have actually heavily considered the last couple of days going Marshall down to Gawn, and then going Keys up to Dunkley still, and doing that move, because keeping Robertson, I think, allows me to loop Darcy Cameron on the Friday, and then also loop Mills with Winhager. So I can loop the 3. I can take the best 2 scores of the 3. So that is a play that I'm considering. And yeah, so it would just depend. If Tom Campbell gets named, I will be jumping off Marshall. And if he's not named, then it's a bit of a decision. Do I wait? Do I not? So, but yeah, keep up to that my socials, and I'll post whatever trades I'm doing. But appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bottom right hand corner, on our way to 1,300. We are 69 subscribers away from that. So if you can help me reach that goal by the end of the season, it'd be very much appreciated. Let me know in the comments below your trades, what you guys looking at doing this week. Any trade questions, put them in the comments and I'll answer those before lockout. I'll be back on Friday afternoon with Tim, and we'll be doing our usual pre-lockout chat, discussing all the big issues ahead of round 20. So hopefully we don't get any other carnage. We have a carnage the last couple of weeks. It'd be good to just have a week where we can just make the trades we need and we don't have to worry about any injury carnage, but we'll have to see anyway. So anyway, appreciate you guys for tuning in. I think I said all my social media links in the description below. If I didn't say it already, then there you go. And then also notifications, turn them on so you don't miss when I go live on Friday with Tim and then in the future. So anyway, I'll catch you guys on Friday for the pre-lockout chat. So thanks guys, I'm out. Cheers.